over 20 years ago. We had a victim of a violent sexual assault walk into headquarters to report she was assaulted. She was smiling and said, "I was just sexually assaulted." Our dispatcher looked at her and said, "You were sexually assaulted?" I'm glad to say this was over 20 years ago, but I will tell you, as a young police officer at the time, it had a lot of impact on me and really pushed me to make sure I did it right so no one else would ever suffer like that. Very simply, there's medical definitions of what trauma is, emotionally what a person goes through, but the simplest way to describe trauma for me is people will act differently really to survive.
Because they're hurting and they don't know how to deal with it.
I think you need to look at trauma in a student in any way that seems to really vary from their normal patterns.
I do think that most people have some preconceived ideas about what are typical behaviors of a victim, and you see that all the time, and you see that in not just a campus community but just in the world at large. Every individual is different, and so there is no one way to be a victim. There is no typical way to present after you've been assaulted. So you have to keep a very open mind, and you cannot go into these investigations or into these situations with preconceived ideas about what you should be expecting or how you should be behaving.
Over years, you start understanding more and more about what it looks like when someone's been traumatized and how that plays out in their recollection, in their response. You know, some people may not be crying, some people may be crying. Some are very quiet. So you have to be able to understand those dynamics.
Something that is traumatic to me might not be traumatic to you, and something that's traumatic to you, down the line. And I think for me, I don't ever want a student specifically to feel like they have to fit into a box of trauma, because I don't know what trauma looks like for them.